Finals week at Westbridge High was the one time of the year when nobody had time for anything else. No parties, no clubs, no drama, just endless notes, study guides, and students trying to survive. At least, that was what I thought. Until the school ice queen borrowed my pen. My name was Ethan Brooks. I wasn't famous at Westbridge High. I wasn't the captain of any team. I wasn't the student everyone gathered around. I was just the guy people asked for help when something broke. A laptop, a projector, a printer, anything with a power button. And then there was Emma Whitmore. Everyone knew Emma, the school ice queen, the student council president, the girl who always ranked first, the girl who could walk into an exam room 5 minutes early, sit down calmly, and make everyone else panic. People admired her. Some were afraid of her. Some wanted to be her. But almost nobody actually knew her. I was one of the few people who did. Not because I was special. Because somehow, Emma kept finding reasons to talk to me. The first time we really spoke was during a history project. Everyone wanted to work with Emma because she was brilliant. I didn't. Not because I disliked her. Because I assumed she didn't need me. But then she walked over to my desk. Ethan. I looked up. Yes? Can you help me? I was surprised. With what? She placed her laptop in front of me. The presentation file won't open. I smiled. Even your computer is afraid of you? She gave me a serious look. That wasn't funny. But I noticed something. She was trying not to smile. After that day, we became friends. Quietly. Naturally. She would sit beside me in the library. I would help her organize files. She would remind me about assignments. I would remind her to sleep. Everyone thought Emma Whitmore was impossible to approach. But I knew something different. She wasn't cold. She was just careful. During finals week, the entire school library was packed. Every table was full. Students were reviewing notes. Highlighters covered every page. The atmosphere was serious. Even Emma looked stressed. That surprised me. Because Emma was always prepared. Always. She never forgot anything. She never made mistakes. But that afternoon, she was searching through her bag. Again. And again. I looked over. Something wrong? She looked up. No. I raised an eyebrow. You're terrible at lying. She sighed. I forgot something. What? She hesitated. My pen. I laughed. That's it? It's important. Emma. Yes? You have 5 notebooks, 3 textbooks, and enough supplies to open a store. She looked at her desk. I know. Then how did you forget a pen? She looked away. I was distracted. I smiled. By what? She immediately answered. Nothing. I laughed. Definitely something. Then she looked at my desk. At my pen. Can I borrow yours? I handed it over. Sure. She took it carefully. Like I had given her something valuable. Thanks. No problem. She started writing. For some reason, I noticed something strange. Emma Whitmore was using my pen. The same girl who always carried expensive stationery. The same girl who had everything perfectly organized. Was using my simple black pen. Why are you looking at my pen? I looked up. What? Emma smiled slightly. You've been staring. I was just wondering. Wondering what? Why you didn't bring your own. She looked at the pen. Then at me. Maybe I wanted yours. I froze. What? She immediately looked back at her notes. Nothing. That was Emma. She would say something impossible, then act like she didn't. 2 hours later, the library announced closing time. Everyone packed up. Emma returned my pen. Thank you. I took it. No problem. She smiled. See you tomorrow. I didn't think anything about it until I looked at the pen. Written neatly along the side was a sentence. A sentence that made my brain completely stop working. Thanks, husband Redheart. I stared, then looked around. Nobody else noticed. I looked back at the pen. The words were still there. My first thought, Emma made a mistake. My second thought, Emma was joking. My third thought, Emma Whitmore just wrote thanks, husband on my pen. The next morning, I walked into school holding that pen, and Emma was already waiting near my locker. She looked at the pen, then at me. A small smile appeared. Did you see it? I held it up. Emma. Yes? What is this? She looked completely calm. The thank you message. The thank you message? Yes. You wrote husband. Yes. I stared. You realize people don't usually write that to their classmates, right? She tilted her head. Maybe they should. I didn't know how to respond. Because Emma Whitmore, the girl who never showed emotion, was standing in front of me like she had done nothing unusual. Why? I finally asked. She looked at me. Why what? Why did you write that? For the first time that morning, Emma looked slightly nervous. Then she stepped closer and quietly said, because I wanted to see how you would react. My heart skipped. Emma. She smiled. Don't worry. A pause. It's not random. Then she took out her own pen and wrote something on a small piece of paper. She handed it to me. I opened it. Only one sentence. The person who borrows my pen gets one wish. I looked confused. What does that mean? Emma smiled. It means. She leaned closer. You owe me a question. Before I could ask what she meant, the school bell rang. Emma walked away, leaving me standing there, holding my pen, and one impossible question. Why would the school ice queen write, "Thanks, husband," on my pen? And why did she look like she already knew my answer? For the rest of the day, I couldn't focus. Not on my classes. Not on my homework. Not even on the final exam review. Because every time I looked at my desk, I saw the same words. Thanks, husband Redheart. It was just a pen. A normal black pen. Something worth less than $1. But somehow, Emma Whitmore had turned it into the most confusing thing I owned. During lunch, Lucas noticed immediately. You look distracted. I looked up. I'm not. He stared at me. You're holding a pen like it contains the answer to life. I quickly put it down. It doesn't. Then why are you protecting it? I hesitated. Because it's important. Lucas raised an eyebrow. Important? Yes. Ethan. What? That's a pen. I sighed. It's Emma's message. His expression changed instantly. Wait. What? Emma Whitmore wrote something on your pen? Yes. What? I didn't answer. Lucas leaned closer. What did she write? I looked around, then quietly said, Thanks, husband. For 3 seconds, Lucas said nothing. Then he almost dropped his drink. She wrote what? I immediately covered his mouth. Keep your voice down. He looked at me in disbelief. The Ice Queen called you husband? I don't know. You don't know? No. Ethan. What? She literally wrote it. I looked at the pen again. And somehow, that made it even more confusing. Because Emma wasn't someone who joked randomly. She was careful. Everything she did had a reason. After lunch, I went to find her. I found her in the library. Of course. Emma Whitmore and the library were basically the same thing. Quiet. Perfect. Impossible to disturb. She was writing notes when I sat down. Emma. She looked up. Yes? I placed the pen on the table. She glanced at it, then smiled. You kept it. Of course I kept it. Why? I stared. Because you wrote on it. That's not an answer. Emma. Yes? You know exactly why. She smiled. A small smile. The kind almost nobody saw. Did you like it? I froze. What? The message. You mean thanks, husband? Yes. I looked at her. Is that supposed to be normal? She thought for a moment. No. Then why? Because I wanted to. That answer was so Emma. Simple. Confident. Like wanting something was enough. I lowered my voice. Emma. Yes? What does it mean? She closed her notebook. What do you think it means? I hated when she did that, turning my own question back at me. I think. I stopped, because saying it out loud felt impossible. I think you're teasing me. She looked disappointed. Only for a second. But I noticed. Is that what you think? I looked at her. What? That I would write something like that just to tease you? I didn't answer. Because honestly, I didn't know. Emma looked down at the table. When people see me, she said quietly, they think they know everything. They think I'm confident. They think I never get nervous. She touched the pen. But there are some things I don't know how to say. I listened. Like what? She looked at me. Like how much I appreciate someone. My heart moved slightly. Ethan. Yes? Do you remember finals last year? I nodded. Yes. You stayed in the library until midnight helping me review. I smiled. You were struggling with history. I wasn't struggling. You fell asleep on your textbook. She looked away. That happened once. I laughed. But you stayed. She continued. Everyone else left. Everyone else had their own things. But you stayed. I became quiet. Because to me, it wasn't a big deal. But to Emma, it was. You always do that. She said. Do what? Make people feel like they matter. I looked at her. Emma. She smiled. That's why I wrote it. I frowned. Because I helped you study? No. Then why? She leaned closer and whispered. Because you act like you're just helping a friend. A pause. But I don't see you that way. My heartbeat changed. Before I could answer, someone walked into the library. Nathaniel Cross. Again. He looked at us. Then noticed the pen on the table. His expression changed. What's that? Emma calmly picked it up. My pen. Nathaniel looked confused. Your pen? Yes. Then he looked at me. Wait. A pause. Is that the one everyone is talking about? I frowned. Everyone? Nathaniel smiled slightly. Ethan. What? You really don't know? Emma's expression changed. Nathaniel. He raised his hands. I'm just saying. I looked between them. What is everyone talking about? Nathaniel sighed. The message. My face changed. What message? He looked at the pen. The one Emma wrote. I looked at Emma. She looked away. For the first time, she seemed embarrassed. Nathaniel. What? Leave. He smiled. Fine. Before leaving, he looked at me. Then said, You should ask her. The door closed. I turned back to Emma. What did he mean? She was silent. Emma. She looked at me. Remember the note I gave you? The one about the question? She nodded. Yes. She took out a small piece of paper. The same one. She pointed at the sentence. The person who borrows my pen gets one wish. I looked at her. What is the wish? She smiled. That's the question. I frowned. Emma, you're making no sense. No. She looked at me. You're just not asking the question. I stared. What question? She smiled. The one you actually want to ask. Then the final bell rang. Emma packed her books. Before leaving, she stopped beside me and quietly said, Ethan. Yes? Tomorrow is the last final. I nodded. Yes. She smiled. After that, a pause. I'll answer anything you ask. She walked away, leaving me with the pen and a question I was suddenly afraid to say. Because maybe the school ice queen wasn't joking. Maybe husband wasn't just a word. Maybe Emma Whitmore had been trying to tell me something. The last final exam of the year arrived. Normally, I would have been focused, reviewing notes, checking formulas, making sure I didn't forget anything. But this time, I couldn't stop thinking about one thing. The question Emma wanted me to ask. The person who borrows my pen gets one wish. That sentence kept replaying in my head. What did she mean? Was she joking? Was she testing me? Or was there something I was missing? When I arrived at the classroom, Emma was already sitting there. Of course she was. Emma Whitmore was always prepared. Her notes were organized. Her pencils were lined up. Her desk was perfectly clean. But today, there was one thing different. She was looking at me. I sat down beside her. Good morning. She smiled. Good morning. I placed the pen on my desk. Her eyes immediately moved toward it. I noticed. She noticed that I noticed. You're still thinking about it. I looked at her. About what? She raised an eyebrow. You know. I sighed. The pen. Yes. Emma. Yes? You realize you made this impossible to ignore. She smiled. Good. I laughed. You enjoy confusing me. No. Really? No. Then what? She looked at me. I enjoy watching you try to understand. That sounded exactly like her. Calm. Confident. A little annoying. The exam started. For the first 20 minutes, I actually focused. The questions were difficult. Everyone was quiet. The only sound was the scratching of pens on paper. Then I looked down. At the pen. At the words written on it. Thanks, husband Redheart. And suddenly, I forgot the answer to the question in front of me. After the exam ended, everyone rushed outside. Some students complained. Some celebrated. Some immediately checked answers. I waited. Because Emma was waiting too. When the classroom emptied, she walked over. How is it? Fine. Only fine? I survived. She smiled. That's very dramatic. I learned from you. She looked at the pen. So? I knew what she meant. So what? Your question. I became quiet. Because I had one. 100, actually. But only one mattered. Emma. Yes? Why did you write husband? For the first time. She didn't answer immediately. She looked at the window. Then back at me. Because I wanted to see if you noticed. I noticed. I know. Then why? She smiled slightly. Because you always notice things about everyone else. A pause. But you never notice when someone notices you. I didn't know what to say. Emma continued. Do you remember when you helped me before finals last year? Yes. You said something. What? You said. She looked at me. You don't have to be perfect all the time. I remembered. She had been exhausted. Everyone expected her to be the best. So I told her she didn't need to carry everything alone. I never forgot that. She said. Why? Because nobody had ever said that to me. I looked at her. Emma. She smiled. That's why I wrote it. I frowned. I still don't understand. She sighed. You're really slow. Thank you. That wasn't a compliment. I know. She took the pen from my hand, then wrote something else underneath the first sentence. I watched carefully. This time, I saw every letter. Thanks, husband Redheart. Underneath. For always being there. She handed it back. Emma. Yes? What exactly am I to you? The question finally came out. The one I had been avoiding. She looked at me. And for once, the Ice Queen didn't have an immediate answer. You really want to know? I nodded. Yes. She stepped closer. Then I'll tell you. Before she could continue, the classroom door opened. A group of students walked in. The moment they saw us, they stopped. Sorry. One of them laughed. We'll come back later. They left immediately. I looked at Emma. She covered her face slightly. For the first time, I saw her embarrassed. Actually embarrassed. You're blushing. I am not. You are. No. Emma Whitmore is blushing. She looked at me. Stop. I laughed. Then she became serious again. Ethan. Yes? The reason I wrote that. She paused. Is because I wanted to know something? What? She looked at the pen. If one day. She hesitated. If one day I asked you to stay beside me. My heartbeat increased. Would you? Before I could answer, the school announcement suddenly played. Attention students. The final student council event of the year will be held tomorrow. Emma looked at the speaker, then back at me. Tomorrow. What? I'll give you the answer tomorrow. I frowned. You mean your answer? She smiled. No. She pointed at the pen. Your answer. That night, I looked at the pen again. The words were still there. Thanks, husband Redheart. But now, I understood something. Emma wasn't trying to embarrass me. She wasn't playing a joke. She was asking me a question. A question hidden inside a simple message. Would I choose her? The next day was the final school event, and Emma Whitmore was going to ask me in front of everyone. The final school event of the year was supposed to be simple. A farewell ceremony. A celebration for finishing finals. A chance for everyone to relax before summer began. At least, that was what everyone thought. I knew something was different the moment I walked into the auditorium. Students were whispering. Teachers were smiling. And somehow, everyone kept looking at me. Ethan. I turned. Lucas walked over with a strange expression. What? He looked around, then lowered his voice. Are you ready? I frowned. Ready for what? He stared at me. Emma. I sighed. Why does everyone keep saying her name like something is about to happen? Lucas smiled. Because something is. Before I could ask more, the lights in the auditorium dimmed. The event was starting. Emma walked onto the stage. Immediately, the entire room became quiet. That was her effect. She didn't need to ask for attention. She simply had it. She stood behind the microphone. Before we begin, she looked around. I want to say something. Everyone listened, including me. This year, I learned something important. Emma continued. I used to think being strong meant handling everything alone. I thought being perfect meant never needing anyone. She paused. But I was wrong. The room became silent. Sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is allow someone to stand beside you. My heartbeat changed, because I knew exactly who she was talking about. Emma looked toward me, and suddenly, everyone followed her eyes. I immediately felt nervous. Not because I was embarrassed, because I realized something. She was about to do something big. Ethan Brooks. She said my name. The entire auditorium heard it. I stood up, slowly walked toward the stage. When I reached her, she smiled. You came. I whispered. You called my name in front of everyone. She smiled. I know. You planned this. Yes. Of course. The audience laughed. Because somehow, even during a serious moment, we were still ourselves. Emma took something from her pocket. A pen. My pen. I recognized it immediately. The same pen. The one with the words, "Thanks, husband Redheart." A few students gasped. They knew. Apparently, everyone knew everything before me. Emma held the pen. When I borrowed this, she looked at me. It was because I forgot mine during finals. She smiled slightly. But honestly, that wasn't the reason. I looked at her. What? She turned toward the audience. I wanted an excuse to give Ethan something. Everyone smiled. Because Ethan has spent so much time helping people. He fixes problems. He helps classmates. He stays when everyone else leaves. She looked back at me. But he never realizes that someone wants to do the same for him. I became quiet. Then Emma held up the pen. When I wrote "Thanks, husband," the auditorium exploded with laughter and surprised reactions. I covered my face. Emma. She laughed. What? You really said it publicly? Yes. Why? She smiled. Because you needed to hear it. The room became quiet again. I wasn't saying that because I expected anything. She continued. I wasn't trying to pressure you. She looked at me. I wrote it because. A pause. You are the person I trust most. That sentence meant more than anything else. Because Emma didn't give trust easily. Then she asked. Ethan. Yes? If I asked you to stand beside me. She took a breath. Not just today. Not just at school. But in every future moment I can imagine. The entire auditorium went silent. Would you? For a second. I forgot everyone was watching. Because this wasn't about the school. The audience. The title. The Ice Queen. It was just Emma. The girl who sat beside me in the library. The girl who remembered my coffee order. The girl who borrowed my pen. I smiled. Yes. The reaction was immediate. Everyone cheered. Emma looked relieved. Actually relieved. Like she had been waiting for that answer longer than I knew. You're sure? She asked quietly. I laughed. Emma. Yes? You wrote husband on my pen. She covered her face. That was private. The entire school heard about it. I know. I smiled. So yes. She laughed. And for the first time, everyone saw something they rarely saw. The school ice queen wasn't cold. She was happy. After the ceremony, we walked outside. The hallway was almost empty. You really scared me. I said. Emma looked surprised. Me? Yes. Why? Because I thought you were going to ask something impossible. She smiled. Like what? I don't know. I looked at her. Something only Emma Whitmore would ask. She laughed softly. Then stopped. Ethan. Yes? There's something else. I sighed. Another surprise? Maybe. Emma. She smiled. I learned from you. What? You always fix things before people notice they're broken. She held up the pen. So I wanted to fix something. I looked confused. What? She pointed at the words. Thanks, husband Redheart. I wrote it as a joke. She said. Then paused. But maybe. She looked at me. Maybe it wasn't just a joke. Before I could answer, the school announcement sounded. Attention students. The yearbook committee has released the final senior pages. Emma's phone buzzed. She checked it. Then smiled. What? She showed me. A message from the yearbook committee. Senior couple spotlight, final selection. Below. Emma Whitmore, Ethan Brooks. I stared. Wait. She smiled. Yes. They put us in the yearbook? Yes. With the pen? She smiled. Maybe. I looked at her. And suddenly realized. Emma had never been afraid to show people she chose me. The only person who had trouble believing it was me. But tomorrow, when the yearbook was released, everyone would see the final message Emma left. A message written beside my picture. A message that would explain why the Ice Queen called me husband. The next morning, Westbridge High felt different. Not because of finals. Not because summer was coming. Because the senior yearbook had been released. Usually, the yearbook was just something students flipped through casually. Pictures. Memories. Funny comments. A few embarrassing photos. But this year, everyone was looking for one page. Emma Whitmore and Ethan Brooks. When I arrived at school, Lucas was already waiting for me. And judging by his expression, something had happened. What? I asked. He held up the yearbook. You need to see this. I frowned. What? He opened to the senior spotlight section. Then turned the book toward me. There we were. Emma and me. A photo from the spring festival. She was holding my hand. I was looking at her. And somehow, The picture captured exactly what everyone had been talking about. But the thing that caught my attention wasn't the photo. It was the sentence below it. Some people spend years trying to become someone everyone notices. Ethan Brooks spent years being the person who noticed everyone else. I stopped, because I knew that wasn't written by the yearbook committee. It was Emma. Below that, he fixed broken things. But he never realized he was the person who fixed my world. I looked at Lucas. She wrote this? He nodded. Everyone knows. I turned the page. At the bottom was one final sentence. The one that made my heart stop. Thanks, husband Redheart. I immediately closed the yearbook. Oh no! Lucas laughed. You're embarrassed? Yes. Why? Because she wrote that for the entire school. He smiled. Ethan. What? The entire school already knew. I sighed. That doesn't make it better. Then I heard a familiar voice. Does it bother you? I turned. Emma was standing behind me. Of course. She had seen everything. I held up the yearbook. Emma. Yes? You put this in the yearbook. Yes. Everyone can read it. Yes. Why? She tilted her head. Because it's true. I stared. That's your explanation? Yes. I laughed. You make everything sound simple. Because it is. What? Choosing someone. She took the yearbook from my hand. When people care about something, they always look for complicated reasons. She looked at the page. But sometimes the answer is simple. She pointed at the photo. I'm happy when I'm with you. That was Emma. No dramatic speech. No complicated explanation. Just honesty. We walked through the hallway together. And something strange happened. People didn't stare anymore. They didn't whisper. Why Ethan? They didn't ask. How did Emma choose him? Instead, someone said, they actually make sense. That sentence surprised me. Because a few months ago, nobody thought we made sense. At lunch, Emma sat beside me like always. But today, something was different. Everyone accepted it. You know what's funny? I said. What? When I first met you, I thought you were impossible to understand. Emma smiled. And now? Now I think you're actually very simple. She raised an eyebrow. Simple? Yes. How? You care about people. She became quiet, then smiled. You finally understand. I looked at her. Was that the goal? What? Making me understand? She thought about it. Yes. I laughed. You spent months writing notes and leading hints just so I would understand? Yes. That's a lot of work. I know. Why not just tell me? Emma looked at me. Because I wanted you to realize something. What? That you were already important. I became quiet. She continued. If I told you directly, you might think I was choosing you because I like you. A pause. But I wanted you to know I chose you because of who you are. For some reason, that meant more. After school, we went to the library. Our usual place. Emma opened her notebook. I noticed something. A new page. What's that? She closed it quickly. Nothing. I smiled. You're terrible at hiding things. I learn from you. What? You always notice. I reached for the notebook. She moved it away. No. Emma. No. You're the one who writes things on my belongings. That's different. How? Because those are gifts. I laughed. Fine. Then her phone buzzed. She checked it. Her expression changed. What happened? She showed me. It was an invitation. Westbridge High Alumni Memory Project. Featured story, The Ice Queen's Unexpected Choice. I looked at her. Again? She smiled. Yes. They're making a story about us? Yes. Why? She looked at me. Because everyone wants to know something. What? She turned her phone toward me. The project question was written at the top. When did Emma Whitmore know Ethan Brooks was the person she wanted beside her? I looked at her. Emma. Yes? What's your answer? She smiled. I'll tell them tomorrow. Why tomorrow? Because tomorrow is the anniversary. Anniversary of what? She looked at me. The day you gave me your pen. I froze. The pen? Yes. She touched the yearbook page. The pen wasn't important because of what I wrote on it. She looked at me. It was important because it was the first time I stopped hiding. The next day, Emma Whitmore would tell everyone the real reason she wrote. Thanks, husband. And for the first time, I would hear the full story. The anniversary of the pen was something I never expected anyone else to remember. To me, it was just another day. A final exam. A forgotten pen. A strange message written in black ink. But to Emma, It was the day everything changed. The alumni memory project was held in the school auditorium. The entire senior class was invited. Teachers, students, even some former graduates. Everyone wanted to hear the story. The story of the school ice queen and the boy she called her husband. Before we went on stage, I found Emma backstage. She was holding her speech notes. I smiled. You prepared? She nodded. Yes. That's unusual. She looked confused. Why? Because usually you just know what to say. She smiled. Not today. Why? She looked at me. Because today is about something important. I looked at the microphone. More important than prom? Yes. More important than the yearbook? Yes. More important than making me embarrassed in front of the entire school? She laughed. Yes. I shook my head. You really enjoyed that last one. Maybe. The host walked onto the stage. Today's featured story is one many of you already know. The audience laughed. The story of Emma Whitmore and Ethan Brooks. Emma looked at me. Then we walked onto the stage together. The first question appeared on the screen. When did Emma Whitmore know Ethan Brooks was the person she wanted beside her? Everyone expected Emma to answer immediately, but she didn't. She looked at me, then smiled. The answer is not the day I wrote "Thanks, husband" on his pen. The audience became quiet. It wasn't the day I kissed him. It wasn't even the day I confessed. She paused. It happened earlier. I looked at her. Earlier? Emma continued. Most people think feelings begin with a big moment. A confession. A special event. A perfect scene. She shook her head. But mine started with something very small. The screen behind us changed. A picture appeared. A broken microphone. The same one from when we first met. That was the first time I met Ethan. She said. My microphone stopped working before a speech. Everyone was worried about the event. Everyone was worried about my performance. She smiled. But Ethan asked me something nobody else asked. The audience already knew, but they wanted to hear it again. He asked. She looked at me. Are you okay? The auditorium became silent. That question stayed with me. Emma said. Because everyone knew what I could do, but he was the first person who cared about how I felt. I looked down, because I still couldn't believe such a small thing mattered so much. Then she continued. After that, I started noticing him. The screen changed. Pictures appeared. The library. The technology room. The school courtyard. He stayed late to help people. He fixed things nobody thanked him for. He remembered details nobody else noticed. She smiled. And the funny thing was, he never thought any of it was special. The audience laughed softly, because everyone knew that was true. Then Emma looked at me. That was when I realized something. What? She answered. I didn't want someone everyone admired. A pause. I wanted someone who made me feel understood. The auditorium was completely quiet. Then the host asked. Then why write "Thanks, husband"? Everyone laughed. Emma smiled. Finally, the question everyone wanted answered. She looked at the pen in her hand. Because I was tired of waiting. I looked at her. For months, I wanted to tell Ethan how I felt. She admitted. But every time I tried, I stopped. Why? The host asked. Emma smiled slightly. Because Ethan always thought everyone else mattered more than him. That sentence hit me. Because it was true. He never realized people noticed him. He never realized people appreciated him. He never realized someone could choose him. She held up the pen. So I wrote something impossible. The audience laughed. Something that would force him to ask. I smiled. So that was your plan? She looked at me. Yes. It was a terrible plan. She laughed. But it worked. The entire auditorium laughed. Then Emma became serious. When I wrote "husband," I wasn't saying I expected him to become my husband tomorrow. A pause. I was saying, he was the kind of person I could imagine beside me forever. My heart stopped for a second. The audience became silent. Then she turned toward me. Ethan. Yes? Do you know why I never changed that message? I smiled. Because you're stubborn? She laughed. No. She looked at me. Because the first time I wrote it, I was hoping. A pause. Now. She smiled. I'm grateful. The applause started. Slowly. Then louder. Everyone stood. After the event, Emma and I walked outside. The hallway was quiet. You really told everyone? I said. She nodded. Yes. Why? Because I wanted you to hear it. You already told me. No. She looked at me. I told everyone else. I smiled. You're unbelievable. I know. Then she handed me something. A pen. Not the old one. A new one. I looked at it. What is this? She smiled. Your graduation gift. I turned it over. There was writing on it. Thanks, husband Redheart. I laughed. You wrote it again? Yes. Why? She looked at me. Because some things are worth repeating. Then I noticed something underneath. A smaller sentence. Next chapter, the person I'll choose forever. I looked at Emma. Forever? She smiled. Yes. Before I could answer, my phone received a message. I opened it. It was from the university. Student housing confirmation. Assigned roommates, Emma Whitmore, Ethan Brooks. I looked at her. You knew? She smiled. Maybe. Emma. Okay. She laughed. Maybe I checked. I shook my head. You really plan everything. No. She held my hand. Not everything. What don't you plan? She smiled. The moments I fall in love with you. And for the first time, I understood. The pen was never the important thing. The words weren't the important thing. The real message had always been simple. Emma Whitmore had chosen me. Not because I was the most impressive person. Not because I was the most popular. But because I was the person who saw her. And tomorrow, we would leave Westbridge High. But our story was only beginning. I always thought graduation would feel different. I imagined sadness. A feeling of leaving something behind. A moment where everyone realized everything was changing. But standing outside Westbridge High with Emma beside me, I didn't feel like something was ending. I felt like something was beginning. The final day at school was strangely quiet. The same halls that were always crowded were almost empty. The same classrooms where we spent years studying now felt like memories. Emma and I walked slowly. Neither of us wanted to rush. Because we both knew this was the last time we would walk these halls as students. Ethan. I looked at her. Yes? Do you remember the first thing you said to me? I smiled. Something about being less scared of microphones than people? She laughed. Yes. You remember that? I remember everything. That was Emma. She remembered everything. The first conversation. The first smile. The first time I helped her. The first time she borrowed my pen. We stopped in front of my old classroom. The door was open. Inside, the desks were still arranged the same way. This room changed my life. I said. Emma looked surprised. Why? Because this is where I realized something. What? I thought I was helping you. She smiled. And? I was actually meeting you. For a moment, Emma said nothing. Then she reached into her bag. I immediately laughed. Another pen? She smiled. No. Another note? Maybe. She handed me a small envelope. I opened it. Inside was a photo. It was from the day she borrowed my pen. The two of us sitting in the library. She was writing. I was studying. Neither of us knew what would happen next. On the back of the photo was a sentence. The day I borrowed your pen, I only wanted an excuse to talk to you. I never expected that one small excuse would become my favorite story. I looked at her. You saved this too? Yes. Emma. Yes? You keep everything. She smiled. Only important things. Then she looked at me seriously. Ethan. Yes? Are you nervous about college? I thought about it. Yes. She nodded. Me too. That surprised me. You? Yes. Emma Whitmore is nervous? She smiled. Sometimes. About what? She looked ahead. About becoming someone new. I understood. Because everyone expected Emma to always be perfect. Always confident. Always ready. You know what I think? She looked at me. What? I think you don't have to become someone new. She waited. You're already someone amazing. Emma smiled. That sounds like something I would say. Maybe I learn from you. She laughed. And that sound still felt impossible sometimes. Because the girl everyone called the Ice Queen laughed because of me. A few days later, we arrived at college. A new campus. New people. A new beginning. I expected things to change. And they did. People didn't know Emma here. They didn't know her reputation. They didn't know she was the famous Ice Queen from Westbridge High. For the first time, she wasn't carrying that title. Does that feel strange? I asked while walking through campus. Emma thought about it. A little. Do you miss it? The title? Yes. She shook her head. No. Why? She looked at me. Because the person who mattered already knew who I was. I smiled. College was different. But some things stayed the same. Emma still studied too much. I still fixed things. She still forgot to rest. I still reminded her. One evening, we sat in the campus library. A familiar place. Almost like Westbridge. Emma was writing notes. I noticed her pen. I laughed. What? She looked up. Nothing. You're using my pen. She looked down, then smiled. Yes. Why? Because I like it. I reached for it. The writing was different this time. Not, thanks, husband Redheart. A new sentence. Still the same person. I looked at her. You wrote that? Yes. Why? She smiled. Because years have passed. A pause. But nothing important changed. I looked at the pen. At the words. At Emma. Then she said something unexpected. Ethan. Yes? Do you remember the question I asked you? What question? During the school ceremony. I remembered. The question that changed everything. If I asked you to stand beside me, would you? I smiled. Yes. She looked at me. Still? I laughed. Emma. Yes? You already know the answer. She smiled. I know. Then she took out her phone, opened my contact, and showed it to me. My name was still saved. Ethan Brooks Redheart. The boy I'll marry. I stared. You never changed it. No. Even after all this time? Yes. Why? Emma looked at me. Because the future I imagined. A pause. Is slowly becoming real. Before I could answer, her phone received a notification. She looked at the screen, then froze. What happened? I asked. She handed me the phone. It was an invitation. Westbridge High Alumni Celebration. Special guests, Emma Whitmore, Ethan Brooks. I laughed. Again? She smiled. Apparently. But then I saw the final line. Special announcement, a story that started with a pin. I looked at Emma. What are they planning? She smiled. I don't know. You're lying. She laughed. Maybe. And suddenly, I remembered something. The first time Emma wrote, "Thanks, husband Redheart." I thought it was just a joke. A strange little message. A moment I didn't understand. But now I knew. The pen wasn't a confession. It was a promise. And soon, everyone would hear the final chapter of the story that began with a borrowed pen. Years later, people still remembered the story. Not because Emma Whitmore was the most admired student at Westbridge High. Not because she was the school ice queen. Not because she was the girl everyone thought would choose someone perfect. They remembered because of a pen. A simple black pen. And the words written on it. Thanks, husband Redheart. When people first heard the story, they laughed. They thought it was a joke. They thought Emma was teasing me. They thought the Ice Queen had finally done something unexpected. But they were wrong. Because Emma had never been joking. The alumni celebration at Westbridge High was held 5 years after graduation. The school looked almost the same. The same hallways. The same classrooms. The same library. But everything felt different. Because we were no longer students. We were returning as people who had moved forward. You're quiet again. I turned. Emma was standing beside me. She smiled. You always do that when you remember things. I laughed. You still notice? She looked at me. Ethan. Yes? I notice everything about you. That answer still surprised me. Even after all these years. We walked into the auditorium. The place was full. Teachers. Alumni. Current students. Everyone was waiting. The host walked onto the stage. Today, we're sharing a story that started with something very small. The screen behind him lit up. A picture appeared. A black pen. Everyone laughed. I covered my face. Emma. She smiled. What? They're really doing this? Yes. About a pen? She nodded. Yes. The host continued. 5 years ago, Emma Whitmore borrowed a pen during finals. She returned it with a message. The screen changed. The words appeared. Thanks, husband Redheart. The entire auditorium laughed. Even I had to smile. Many people wondered. The host said, "Why?" Then Emma walked onto the stage. The room became quiet. She took the microphone. When people ask why I wrote that, she smiled. They always expect a complicated answer. She looked at me. But the answer was actually simple. The audience listened. Because Ethan Brooks was the first person who made me feel like I didn't have to be perfect. The room became silent. Before him, everyone knew Emma Whitmore. The student council president. The top student. The person who always had the right answer. She paused. But Ethan knew something else. He knew when I was tired. He knew when I was stressed. He knew when I needed someone beside me. I looked at her, because she still remembered every detail. The pen wasn't important. Emma continued. The words weren't important. She smiled. The important thing was that I finally found the courage to say something I had been afraid to say. The host asked, "What were you afraid of?" Emma looked at me, then answered, "That someone I cared about wouldn't realize how much they meant to me." The auditorium became quiet. I walked onto the stage beside her. The host handed me the microphone. "Ethan, what did you think when you first saw the message?" Everyone laughed. I smiled. I thought Emma was joking. Emma looked offended. I wasn't. I know that now. The audience laughed. But back then, I looked at her. I couldn't understand why someone like Emma would choose someone like me. Emma's expression softened. And then I realized something. I continued. She never chose me because she thought I was the best person in the room. A pause. She chose me because I was the person who made her feel like herself. Emma smiled. After the speech, everyone gathered around us. Students asked questions. Teachers shared memories. Someone even asked Emma, "Do you still have the original pen?" Emma smiled. "Yes." Everyone reacted. "You still have it?" "Yes." "Where?" She reached into her bag and took it out. The same pen. Older. A little scratched. But still there. I laughed. "You actually brought it?" "Yes." "Why?" She looked at me. "Because it reminds me." "Of what?" She held the pen. "The smallest moments can change your entire life." Then she handed it to me. I looked closely. The old words were still there. "Thanks, husband Redheart." But underneath, there was something new. A sentence I had never seen before. "Still my choice." I looked at Emma. "You added this?" She nodded. "Yes." "When?" "Today." I smiled. "Why?" She held my hand. "Because the first sentence was a hope." A pause. "And this one is the truth." Years ago, I thought the important moment was when Emma kissed me. I thought it was when she called me husband. I thought it was when she chose me in front of everyone. But now I understood. The real story started much earlier. A girl who seemed impossible to reach. A boy who never thought he mattered. A borrowed pen. A simple message. Sometimes love doesn't begin with a confession. Sometimes it begins with someone quietly saying, "I noticed you. I appreciate you. I choose you." The school ice queen didn't need someone to change her. She didn't need someone to save her. She only needed someone who saw the person behind the title. And somehow, I became that person. The pen was never just a pen. The words were never just a joke. Because the girl who wrote, "Thanks, husband Redheart," was really saying, "I hope you'll be the person I choose forever." And years later, she still was. That's all for today. Remember to subscribe and support us.